Okay.
If I have a woman and I have a dead bedroom, right? And you think porn is not a way for me to medicate themselves so I can take care of her and my kids and stay more 6 months, a year, 2 years? What will be the solution to Mr. Andrew Wilson, sir? What will be the
gee, this is going to blow your mind. You ready for this? Instead of masturbating to porn, you fix your marriage so that you don't avoid the fixing of the problems in your marriage by jerking off the fucking porn, fatty.
No answer. You saw what he did? He didn't say.
How's that not an answer?
You said just fix it. Hey,
Andrew Wilson is back, and he is teaming up with Martae Rayless to take on the Powdered Dusty and Fatty on if corn is good for society on the Raging Tomatoes channel. Andrew Wilson was filling in for someone else. And obviously, Martae and Andrew are going to be on the anti-corn side, while Fatty over here and the Powdered Dusty will be pro-corn. Well, how does this debate go down? Let's watch and find out how this debate on the Raging Tomatoes channel goes down.
Crazy and degenerate, that that's all they focus on. The rest of society doesn't matter, but none of those things are true, right? That doesn't get to the heart of the truth of the matter. You're making a cultural comparison and get mad at me because I look at the honor culture from the perspective of those who are in that culture. So of course I am.
We can really only look at it from our culture, our paradigm, right? The one that we have. We can't pretend to step into someone else's paradigm. So from your paradigm,
yes, we can step inside of other people's paradigm. Why can't we?
Which is a better culture from your paradigm? One in which corn is allowed, or one in which there's honor behind grape competitions?
What?
That's what you said.
I'm asking you to use your paradigm.
You said there was an honor
your paradigm to assess.
Yeah, you mean do I consider it from the honorific of Western culture?
It was great
to see that as honorable in their culture. No.
So you don't think it's honorable to have grape competitions?
No. What are you talking about?
Grape competitions?
So you agree then that having corn is more honorable than having grape competitions?
No, hang on. I'm sorry. Was this in dispute?
It was in dispute. I think it was in dispute.
I'm super fucking confused. Was this something that came up at some point?
I think you're kind of making stuff up, man.
Yeah, what is this? What is corn better than grape competitions? Huh? Wow, right off the bat here. Not looking good for the Powdered Dusty and Fatty.
I don't think I'm kind of making stuff up. What did you hear?
You're pulling this out of thin air, man.
You didn't hear him saying that we couldn't assess their culture in which they grape babies?
No, I did say that you can. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that if you're making a worldview paradigm comparison, and I say honor culture, that doesn't fucking mean I think it's honorable, you dipshit.
And what's the point of you arguing from that perspective?
Because I'm trying to explain to you that there could be universalized reasons within a culture of why they can have one very degenerate thing that they can engage in while their society still stays intact. Whereas another culture, that has a different set of worldview paradigms, you introduce same thing, now you have chaos. Like alcohol to Indians, for instance. Mm-hmm. Not a big problem for Europeans. Huge fucking problem for Indians, though, wasn't it?
So if we just have the right culture, then grape will be okay. Is that what you're suggesting?
No, it still wouldn't be okay, but the society itself socially may be able to deal with these things easier or better, depending on how the society is structured.
Conversation. How does that make corn bad?
We're talking about how it makes it bad for our society, not for the Japanese society, right?
So,
and your evidence of that is that
my evidence for that is that it increases.
Dusty acting like he doesn't know what the heck Andrew Wilson's talking about. He's bringing up these weird things about grape and stuff. Like, what is he talking about?
Human trafficking almost tenfold everywhere that it's done, including in Japan. So, and you can look at the Yakuza stats for that. You can also look here in the United States, especially since the advent of OF. The child trafficking has increased drastically. I can give you all of the studies on it. You can also go to Rachel Wilson's Substack and pull them up yourself. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And when you go back, you move back through the historic standard pre-corn, human trafficking was not a huge issue. That was an introduction based on demand, and we don't need to have it. It's fucking stupid.
Where is corn consumption the worst?
Yeah, that's kind of hilarious. Like human trafficking wasn't a big issue when there's, for example, the transatlantic slave, when it was literally a bunch of prostitutes.
There was no such thing as a transatlantic slave in the 50s, bro.
Okay, of course. No, I'm saying people would literally bring a bunch of prostitutes on the back that were either voluntary and forced to serve the people that were in these wars and the military and all that. I'm kind of confused, and I'll grant that, right? You are right. It got worse tenfold. Do you think porn is bad overall, or consume porn in moderation is bad too for society?
Well, the prompt here, the specific question we're asking is if it's bad for society.
Yes.
Right? Now, I didn't think that we're asking if it's bad for every society which exists, but for the society in which I live. In the society in which I live, it's definitely a negative, and it's way more. Hang on, can you let me finish answering his question, then I'll answer yours. Definitely, so it's socially bad in the West. In
moderation. In moderation.
What's moderation?
Like if I consume porn,
you fap once a week. Is he fap once a week, bro?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because most of the problems that we talk about is
this dude, is Fatty's microphone on a spatula? Is that to go with his gimmick? Like, oh, I'm a fatty. Look, I even have a spatula mic.
Consuming it in a fast rate and doing it repeatedly. Like if I consume porn once a week, is that bad for society? Do you think
I would actually make the claim bolder that it would be bad essentially for all societies, that the Japanese society would be even better absent the corn. It wouldn't be worse. I couldn't think of how it would be worse.
You didn't answer my question.
Well, that's like saying, would it be bad if I just did heroin once a week? Like, what if I just did heroin once a week? Is that bad? It's like, well, yeah. Because here's the thing, is like once you're addicted to that, like it's hard to just do it once a week in moderation. That's kind of why corn is dangerous. I liken it to like drugs.
You didn't answer my question. Is porn in moderation? Is porn in moderation bad for society? Once a week.
Yes.
But this is actually
as a good comparison.
Just 1 second. Because it's kind of water in moderation is good, but if you have too much water, you can drink from water poisoning. Everything that you do too much is going, like, water in moderation is good. You might be drowning if you get too much water. Like,
that's a horrible argument, though. Like, they always go to that, like, too much of anything, which, yeah, it's true. Too much of anything is bad. That is correct. But water actually is beneficial to you. Like, you're supposed to drink water. If you don't drink water, that's bad, actually. Like, if you never drink any water, that's not good for your health. So it's actually good if you drink water. But with corn, it's not the same thing. It's not beneficial to you.
Like if you need porn to prevent cheating.
Hang on. I'll engage with this. This is a good hypothetical. I understand what you're saying.
Everything, if you do too much, is going to cause a problem, right?
Let me ask you a question. If it's the case that you could add rat poison to the water supply, in your nation, but if you drank it in small amounts, right, it wouldn't be that poisonous. Would you recommend that we add it?
No, but there's no.
Why? Hang on. Why?
Because overall is going to have a bad effect. There's no positives about it.
That's the debate, son. That's the debate.
There is positives.
That's it.
There is positives about it if you've got toxic water. If you have biohazards in your water and you need just a little bit of chlorine to kill those biohazards, you're better off having a little bit of the toxins.
See the moderation that we're talking about.
So hang on. You're asking about something which, in the case use, is a multi-purpose, right? Well, you're talking about chlorine in this instance. I asked about rat poison. He said no, you wouldn't add the rat. You wouldn't add the rat poison because hang on, because he thinks that overall there's no reason to add rat poison to water that doesn't need rat poison put in it. So when you say everything in moderation, I guess that's true in the same sense that it's true that if we added rat poison in moderation, if you didn't drink too much of it, it wouldn't be particularly harmful, but you would still avoid it. Why would we introduce in moderation poison to our water supply when we don't actually need to have it there?
Because there's benefits about it, and he actually got you with that because chlorine in high doses are going to kill you, but you wouldn't take tap water without them being treated with some type of chemicals in the water.
Yeah, it's not analogous here.
No. So this is why we talk about pacifying, right?
Wait a minute, is this where they talk about like chlorine? Like if you put chlorine in the water a little bit, that's fine. But again, like chlorine is something that like helps keep the water clean. So yeah, absolutely. If you put way too much chlorine, then yeah, that's not good. But a little bit of chlorine, I mean, some might argue that's not good, but still, chlorine serves a purpose. It keeps the water clean. But if you just put poison in the water, like there's no purpose to it, it's just poison. You know, you put like arsenic or something in the water or something, well, then that's bad. And even if it was just a little bit in the water, you still wouldn't want to drink it. You still would have been like, yeah, give me a cup of that water.
Right. There's a bunch of studies that say that married men are consuming a tremendous amount of porn.
Mm-hmm.
Those men is the better, like the lesser of two evils. Instead of you going around and getting a prostitute, just married men engage in a lot of it. Instead of going outside and cheating on your woman, you fap into your towel and throwing that shit to the motherfucking cleaner on the toilet. It's way better than you cheating on your woman. What are we going to do with all these married men that are not having sex?
The problem is,
what are we going to do, Andrew? What is the solution if they're not going to fap
work on your marriage?
Lisa Ann.
Yeah. So the question of the debate is not what is an alternative to degenerates fucking masturbating because they can't keep their hands off their pecker. The idea of the debate is whether or not pornography is bad for society. That's what we're arguing about here. So the question becomes this then. Right? When you ask these pointed things, you're giving me a false dialectic. It's either a fucking Coomer degenerate has to masturbate in a towel and then wipe his hands on it or some shit, or all of society is gonna fucking crumble because a bunch of fucking men who can't fuck are gonna shoot up schools. That's fucking dumb, dude. And it's a false dialectic. So when we look at the standard, we can look just 50 years ago, corn was not legal. Where were all these problems? Where?
But we can look at where porn is still illegal. We can look at the Middle East. We can look at Japan. We can look at all the places with the weirdest kinks and fetishes.
Flosette, 1 second. Do you notice that he's doing exactly what we told that he was going to do? This is a perfect world where people are going to be sexual frustrated and they are going to pent up their motherfucking testosterone because that's the right thing to do. Andrew, ask you a question. What is the solution? These men don't want to cheat on what? These men don't want to cheat on their wives, so they are medicating themselves with porn because they don't want to go out and do things that are worse. I think this is a benefit for society.
Great.
It's better for you to keep your family and to go into Mia Khalifa than go outside and try to bring STDs home, babies.
Yeah, I think it's better. I think it's better to.
Let me ask the question.
Okay, go ahead. Ask the question.
If you are not going to engage in porn, because porn will actually pacify that married man, what is the solution for that man that
don't do either? Isn't that crazy? You don't have to masturbate to Mia Khalifa or cheat on your wife. You don't have to do either. It's impossible, says the degenerate. That's not possible. How could you have a society where you're not fapping to an OF girl or fucking a woman? How is that? Listen, buddy. 40% plus of humanity who are men never replicated. They never had sex. They were never able to replicate. They never fucked a chick. 40% of all men who ever lived never fucked a chick. Okay? I just gave you the answer to your false dialectic. You can't set up a false dialectic. They get mad that I don't answer your stupid ass false dialectic.
Well, yeah, because he's stringing it's either or. We're like, well, if you don't have corn to fap to, then what are the married men going to do that aren't having sex in their marriage? Well, ideally, wouldn't you say that ideally, maybe work on your marriage then? Maybe put some work in your marriage. That's the thing about marriage. Marriage is hard work. It's work. The benefits of marriage is that you have someone to take care of you, someone to help you raise your children, someone to grow old with and be there with, because no one wants to die alone. That's what the benefit of marriage is. Because I know people are going to say, well, why is it worth it? Why is it worth it? Well, that's the benefit of it. That's what you're getting from it. You're getting a whole lot of I don't know how to word it, but like internal value. But in exchange for that, yes, it's a lot of work. And, you can't use this false dichotomy of just, well, it's either fapping to Mia Khalifa or, cheating on your wife. Like, which is it? It's like, well, how about neither? And how about just trying to work things out with your wife?
In 2025, tablets didn't exist 30.
By the way, this guy right here, Fatty or Fappy, as he was lovingly referred to in the Crucible crew chat. I'm pretty sure he's not married or probably doesn't have a girlfriend. So in a way, it kind of makes me feel like, why should I listen to this guy? Like clearly Korn has like warped his brain. You know what I mean? Like, like he can't get any attention. It's possible he probably doesn't get a lot of attention from actual women. I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he has a girlfriend or a wife. I don't know. But it sounds like he doesn't. And it sounds like his only release is his Mia Khalifa Korn. So I don't know. When I listen to this guy, it makes me think, well, why should I pay attention to you?
30 years ago. Now we have a problem.
Sounds like you need
how do we solve these, right?
The same way South Korea did. You make it illegal.
No, and South Korea literally has the worst birth rate in the planet right now. So what are we going to do? So
if we introduce porn, they're going to have babies, bro?
I gave you time, sir. I gave you time.
Give them the porn, and then we'll get the babies.
I gave you time.
What they're doing down there isn't working.
1 second. I give you time. First of all, that's not even my accent. And you call me degenerate while you're literally smoking cigarettes.
I didn't call you a degenerate.
No, you said
Oh man, Fatty getting cooked. Yeah, his accent reminds me of a scary movie. Remember the cameraman for Gale Weathers? You know, Sherry O'Terry's character in there. The camera guy that followed her around. Gale, I only touched the top of the breast. Like that's who this dude reminds me of.
You legally have to smoke yourself.
I didn't call you a degenerate.
Okay, so yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I said you can't have the dialectic of it's either I'm a degenerate or. That's not calling you a degenerate.
Okay, so fair. So I'm not going to do the ad hominems. I'm going to save it for in 20 minutes. So this is what we're going to do again, and we want answers. You are very bad at actually giving some answers.
Dude, you can't.
No, you said you don't go from.
Hang on. Just take a step back, and we'll see if we can get some clarity here.
Right. Well, what's the answer?
When you say things like you're not giving answers. Okay, Fatty. Would you rather diddle a 10-year-old girl or 10-year-old boy? Answer.
You see, and this is
answer. No, Fatty. Answer the question.
I will rather.
No, answer the fucking question, Fatty.
Yes. So
which one? Which one? No. Answer my question. Which one?
Lefties are going to clip this now and be like, oh my God, can you believe Andrew Wilson is asking this guy if he would rather diddle a little girl or a little boy? Oh my goodness. I totally see that happening.
Answer my fucking question. Look at this guy avoiding questions. All he does is avoid questions. He won't answer a single question. No matter how many times I ask the question, he refused to answer it. That's what you're fucking doing. You don't set up false dialectics as questions, and they get pissed off when I give you non-false dialectic answers.
Where do you think there's more degeneracy in the West or in the Middle East?
I want to point this to everybody watching, right? I didn't give him two options. I said, bring your own option. You asked me, what would I do? Fuck a 10-year-old woman, a girl, or a 10-year-old
If you had to, which one? Which one? Answer.
Let me finish my point.
Answer the question.
I would fuck a 23-year-old woman.
Oh, see? That's not. He won't answer. He won't answer. He won't answer the question.
I will ask again.
Won't answer the question.
I'm going to prove my point right now. You over talking me doesn't stop.
I wish that you would fucking just answer my question, bro.
No, respectfully, you are going to have to listen to me. Okay? I'm not giving you two scenarios. I'm saying if man sexually frustrated on the relationship doesn't work.
That's already a false scenario.
If going ahead and fap into Mia Khalifa doesn't work, you are going to give me the solution to all these men that are sexually frustrated in a marriage, what they do with their motherfucking junk. See?
Yeah, okay. You're right, Fatty. Hang on, I'll just ask it back. They're sexually frustrated, Fatty, so they have to do a 10-year-old girl or 10-year-old boy. Which one should they do? Fatty, which one should they do, Fatty? Which one should they do, Fatty? Which one, Fatty? Which one should they do, Fatty? Stop setting up what you do when you set up false dialectics. That's how it should get when you set up false dialectics.
I would like to reset the panel here. Maybe let Martae or Flo jump in.
There's so many components to this too. Because
we caught Andrew Wilson and I'm removing the conversation.
And then
you didn't catch me in shit. I'm trying to express.
I don't ask a binary question. I told you, give me the solution.
I didn't ask you a binary question either.
Give me the solution.
What you did, Fatty.
Hold on.
I'll explain so that you know. When you bake in.
We're not asking for, sorry guys, we're not asking for solutions. So I'm not going to force the answer to that question because I don't think it's part of the prompt in and of itself.
Come on, Sarah. Force him to
answer.
I can explain now.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Men staying on marriages is positive because they keep their family together and they are not going around and putting kids on women that they're not going to take care of. They're not going to get STDs. They're not going to get a bunch of things, right? Porn is a...
All right, say what you want, but Powder Dusty's pretty cool for having that Limp Bizkit poster back there. I don't know if he's doing it ironically or because he's really a fan, but points for him for that.
Victimless crime, like it's you and your end, right? This serves to pacify the man so he doesn't go out and cheat on his woman because we know a lot of relationships, the affection level is not there. My question to Mr. Know-It-All, Andrew Wilson, was simple. Since I think porn is good because avoids these men from going outside and engaging with these situations, what will be the solution for said
I'll
men
answer.
than playing with their end?
Yeah, I'll answer. Do you understand? Do you understand that you bake in suppositions that I don't fucking agree with and then say to answer to the supposition I don't agree with? It's literally the exact same thing, Fatty, as me saying to you, okay, based on my supposition that men must diddle kids, which kid should they diddle, Fatty? It's the same, and I'm already baking in there that you agree with the supposition that men must do that. Okay. That's the whole point here, Fatty. I don't agree with your suppositions.
Okay. So let's play with it. The premise is married men. No, it's cool. The premise is married men indulge into prostitution, indulge into OnlyFans, and indulge into porn.
Descriptively, I agree.
At an immense level, because
that's another thing I think that why Fatty's not married, because it's like he's speaking from like without experience. Like that's not the only choices. Like not all married men are going out with prostitutes or OF girl. They're looking up OF girls and all these things that Fatty's here is suggesting. Like he really has this image in his head that, by default, it's like majority of married men are just unhappy and they're out gallivanting and doing all these things. And so Fatty's solution is, well, men, they just can't control themselves and they're unhappy. It's a sexist marriage. So what's the solution? They have to medicate themselves, in his words, by pleasuring themselves to porn. That's his solution. That's Fatty's prescription. But it's like, well, it's not exactly how it works, Fatty.
They don't experience the level of affection that they need in a relationship.
That I don't agree with.
Andrew, do you agree with that?
No, see, this is the problem. There's a part of that.
That's crazy.
There's a part of that I agree with as a descriptor. Dude, let me answer. There's a part of that I agree with as a descriptor, and then there's a part of it I don't agree with. That you took a logical leap one step too far.
Go ahead.
Descriptively, it is true. Married men engage in porn. I'm not disputing that. Married men engage in all sorts of sexual deviancy. I'm not saying that that's not the case either. My dispute would have to start, though, with the idea that they do it only because they're lonely or due to the fact that they're not feeling enough affection. That you would have to demonstrate.
So if I told you there's thousands and thousands of dead bedrooms in the United States, would you agree with that statement?
Sure.
Would you agree with that statement that if men are always going to have those sexual urges, so they have to find ways and paths to relieve themselves?
Now we went one step too far again.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Hang on. I agree with you descriptively. Sure, there's tons of bedrooms that are dead. But the idea that men then have to fap or engage in porn because of that, we got to demonstrate that part, Fatty.
Okay. Do you think that men that are...
Yeah, like that. See, that's what I mean. It's like from experience as a, if Fatty are married, like that's why I think Fatty's not married, because it's like, well, that's not the only ways to go about this stuff. Like it's not just dead bedrooms and therefore you got to go fap now. You have to. That's the only solution. There's no other solutions. You have to look at corn.
That are not sexually frustrated function better as functioning adults, as a society. Do you think that men that are not sexually frustrated usually are better for society overall?
I'm willing to grant that probably maybe most even.
Most?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's fair that a man that is actually sexually satisfied is going to be probably more docile, more happy-go-lucky, is going to go to work.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's good or not necessarily in a lot of cases, but in some cases, even most, I'll just grant it. Sure, most.
So if you actually stop impeding that because these men did either a binding contract or they promised to God they're going to only fuck one woman, is it fair to say that if they don't release the time that they think that they should release, they don't have the intimacy, the touch and all that, is it fair to say that they're going to have to actually look to release it somewhere else? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, but maybe, but not necessarily that this has to be released in a sexual way.
So you don't. So this is incredible. Why do you think all these motherfucking armies had a bunch of prostitutes on the back? Because it was bad for them, or because it was good
because it was good for morale?
Make a lot of sense.
No, it's good because the men that actually had some
before they have a fight.
Go ahead,
so
Mark.
Why do you think this prescription existed throughout history of boxers, saying to refrain from sex so they can focus on fights or tasks at hand? Do you think there's other avenues where we can get this frustration dealt with? Men have always looked at enhancing histories and other avenues.
The best UFC fighter ever all the time, Mr. Bone Jones, would fuck prostitutes before the show, would get a line of
example.
He'll get a line of cocaine and he will still perform. That's anecdotal.
So they can build up their aggression.
What we know for a fact
is anecdotal coming from one person, John Jones.
What we know for a fact is that multiple armies around the planet.
Yeah, and I'll explain why that was.
Had prostitutes on the back because they knew those men were sexually frustrated. They would not have the morale. They would not function as well. They will actually be worse doing their job.
Actually, here I'll explain. So this is multifunctional. You can find this especially in Napoleon Bonaparte's army. But it was especially during the time of Empire. This was very common. You had what were called camp women. And what would happen is when you were drafted into an army or you were pressed into an army, you would take your family with you. Because it's not like people had houses like they do now. They were living in basically rundown ramshacks and things like this. So when they were pressed into service, they would take their family with them. What happened when they died? The prospects for their women weren't great. A lot of them turned to prostitution, and the generals of these armies didn't have the heart to turn them out. They would starve, and so would their children. That was one aspect of it. Another one is, remember, the average age of these soldiers was 16 to 19 years old. And so what would happen is they would go, okay, I don't want to die a virgin, or I would at least want to touch a woman before I die. The mortality rates in these wars were extremely high, right? There was good reasons why these were morale boosters for soldiers. And I could even if you're asking me, should there be camp prostitutes for young men who are about to go into battle and die the next day? That would be a way harder argument for me. It's a good thing we're asking if they're good for fucking society or not, fatty, and not if they're good for soldiers who are going to die the next day.
Boom.
Yes, because you admitted that if we are sexually frustrated, we are actually going to function worse. So by actually allowing them to...
I never granted that.
Respectfully, Mia Khalifa saved more people than the Private Ryan.
Did he really just say that Mia Khalifa saved more people than Private Ryan? Holy cow, that is insane. Whew, oh my goodness, that is insane. I want to point out to you the difference, though, is that we're arguing for Korn. He's bringing up like having women on the bases and stuff like that, and now they're talking about young men who are about to go off to war who've never had the touch of a woman. Well, what does that have to do with Korn, though? Korn doesn't require a touch of a woman. Now it actually makes women a little bit more obsolete, and that's why it's harmful. Because why do you need to go out and find a woman now if you could just stay home and fap in your comfy fap chair? Well, why? Just get yourself a good fleshlight, and there you go. You're good. And that's why it's harmful. So there's no comparison with having women on the bases or the camp women or whatever the hell they're talking about, or prostitutes for the young men that are going to die in the wars. There's no comparison there, because at least that actually involves a woman, a touch of a woman. With Korn, it doesn't require that at all. That's about touching yourself. And I'm sorry, but touching yourself is in no way a replacement or a good comparison than actually being with a woman. It's just not. Yes, you actually do have a kick in your step when you how do you say, like, have relations with a woman. But when you just, when it's just you and your hand, you don't have that same kick in your step. It's more shame. It's more like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I had to do that. Why did I do that? Never again, until the next time. So it's not the same thing, Fatty. Even with that argument, still a poor argument.
Respectfully, like the fact that this man, I'm having a conversation with you, and the same way that we were talking.
No, that's a claim. You prove claims.
I prove your claim. So this is how I'm going to prove a claim. Go see how many views does Private Ryan has on his movie and how many views Mia Khalifa has on X videos.
How does that prove your claim that Mia Khalifa has saved men?
I guarantee you her impact in society is way higher than whatever the mother.
I got it. So if I can show you a video of a hostage getting beheaded and it has more views than Saving Private Ryan, then that ipso facto has saved more men than Saving Private Ryan?
Absolutely not. The point is,
I'm gonna just sit here now and turn it over to Martae, Fatty. I don't even know where to go with you, bro.
Funny, you think you got me, but you didn't. There's nothing positive that comes from watching that video. There is positive from you jacking off to Mia Khalifa.
Whenever you can prove.
Yeah, this right here, 6 of spades right here, their super chat. Fatty, do you feel even slightly guilty / embarrassed dying on this hill? Come on, man. You can be better than this, Degen. That's another thing, too, is that, dude, this guy is spurking out and he's fighting on this hill like, no, we need to fap. We need to fap to save the marriages and the kids. Like he is just really like, no. And that's what I've seen it, like this corn stuff do to men. Like they get really like, no, don't take it away. Don't take it away. Like they get really possessive of their corn, which I think in itself shows how much of a hold corn has on a lot of men in society, which is actually another point to how it's harmful to society.
Prove that. I'm waiting.
Oh, sir,
Patty, do you have a demonstration?
No. I got you. Let me prove it. Do you guys believe in the term post-nut clarity, that men function more when they get the nut off? Do you agree with me?
What about post-watching Private?
No, we are going to stay right here.
Okay.
No. What about? We're going to stay right here.
Look, I'm happy to engage with all of your hypotheticals. They're easy to turn around because you haven't thought them through. I'm happy to engage. Sure, yes, men have post-nut clarity. Absolutely.
You consider that when a man nuts, he actually functions better. He has a focus. He has a drive. He's more societal because he's not sexually frustrated. If you believe in post-nut clarity, all these married men that have dead bedrooms can literally come on their towel and say, you know what? Let me go take care of my family because I release my...
That's not what happens, dude. That's not what happens. They don't. People don't go like do their business. Men don't do their business and be like, now I can go take care of my family. That's not what happens. You're misrepresenting what actually happens after after the self-pleasuring.
It's my frustrations. You still didn't answer my question.
Okay, Patty, if that's the case.
No,
you can't make a claim and then not let me engage with the claim, Patty. How long, Patty? How long does post-nut clarity last?
I would say probably. I don't have. Actually, I can prove it.
About 30 minutes.
I can prove it.
Hang on, Patty. About 30 minutes, Patty.
I don't know. What is the length?
So do you think prescriptively men should be fucking whacking it every 30 minutes so they can be as clear as possible?
Hey, Andrew, I'm a fast learner. Prove that I'm a very fast learner. Prove that post-nut clarity only lasts 30 minutes.
I'm asking you, how long do you think it? I asked you a question. Hey, I asked you. Hang on. It wasn't a claim. I asked you that as a question. How long do you think it lasts?
No, you conceded that it actually is better for men. I don't know how many 3 minutes, 7 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour a day.
Well, how long do you think?
Yes. So
how long do you think?
I don't have a study to prove it. That's your claim.
I didn't. It's not a claim. It's a question.
Okay. No, but the thing is, you agree with the claim, even if it's 1 second, right? You have to answer my question, Andrew. We are solution-based over here.
Okay.
If I have a woman and I have a dead bedroom, right? And you think porn is not a way for me to medicate himself so I can take care of her and my kids and stay more 6 months, a year, 2 years? What will be the solution to Mr. Andrew Wilson, sir? What?
Oh, gee, this is going to blow your mind. You ready for this? Instead of masturbating to porn, you fix your marriage so that you don't avoid the fixing of the problems in your marriage by jerking off the fucking porn, fatty.
No answer. You saw what he did? He didn't say.
How's that not an answer?
You said just fix it. Hey, you have cancer full state? Just fix it. Your car is bad, just fix it. Hey, you have
Well, yeah, if your car doesn't work, you fix it. Yeah, and if you have cancer, you try to treat it if you can. If you're able to treat it, then you get it treated. I don't see how this is even Andrew is stunned right here. I don't see how this is an argument against Andrew. Yeah, you fix it. That's what you do. What else are you supposed to do? So see, but like I said, I don't think Fatty's married. So I don't think to him this is like unfathomable. What? You fix your marriage? You're not just supposed to replace sex with your wife with fapping to Corn, to Mia Khalifa? You're just not supposed to do that?
We think it's just no. Hey, I said we are fast learners over here. You are going to explain it. You are going to explain it. No. Everybody.
Okay, I'll explain. Go ahead, Fatty.
You are going to explain how do we fix it. Go ahead. You have the floor.
And how do we fix it? By the way, kudos to Sarah over here for moderating 4 dudes talking about fapping to Corn. Sure, it's probably not the most pleasant as a woman to moderate this debates. Probably not the most comfortable. So just want to point that out there. Kudos.
Here's how we fix it.
Yeah, and by the way,
we start fixing it by getting rid of no-fault divorce and mandatory waiting times on marriage, and by fixing child custody, and by the person who cheats getting to nothing when they leave the marriage. You start fixing it like that, and then after it's fucking fixed, you also tell fucking mean that they need to stop jerking the fuck off, and they need to work on their fucking marriage. And tell that bitch to shut up and suck the fucking dick.
Yeah, so my accent is not as bad as you trying to open pickle jars. So now that we got that out of the way,
olive jars, get your facts right, dummy.
And thank you very much for coming with the beer, because you look like a weirdo when you don't have one. So the conversation that we're having once again, and I said,
oh, poor Fatty.
On the
you gotta grow that strip right there. Is that because too many men have come on your face? You can't quite get it in.
Hey, no. The fact that you have to smoke because you miss dicks in your mouth is what is actually making me.
Do I miss dicks in my mouth?
I miss him so much. I miss him. So now that we got the pleasantries out of the way, sir,
make me quit smoking.
Hey, did you notice? I want to point this out to everybody. He talked about the perfect world. He didn't talk about 2025. He talked about the world where the divorce court works and is no fault divorce and all those things. This is the perfect world. This is not the world of
perfect world.
Because the courts are biased towards women, and these men they have to wait.
Got it. So let me get it right.
No, you don't got it.
No, you don't got it. Okay.
I have a schedule on my
I know. So in a society where there's murder, it can't be fixed, because what are you going to do right now because people are getting murdered? It's fucking stupid, dude. It's dumb.
You are not going to move the conversation. And even Mr. Enigmatic is spamming the chat because you are in danger. So listen to me, right?
No, I'm in danger.
No, you are talking about the future. I agree with you. In a perfect world where the divorce court on 50-50, I'm talking about right now, sir. This man that is on a 7-year relationship and doesn't have the laws on his favor, he doesn't have nothing. How does he fix his dead bedroom without going on and jacking off to a porn star? Please give me the fix.
How does a man? Okay, well, let's see if we can think of any things that men could do to fix their dead bedroom other than jerking off to porn stars. Well, they can start by having conversations with their wives. They can get counseling. They can work through the church. They can do a million fucking things to try to get their relationships on track rather than jerking off to porn stars.
Look at Fappy losing it. Look at Fappy losing it. He can't fathom this. He's like, what? Solutions that are not just fapping to Mia Khalifa? It's like he can't fathom that. He can't imagine a world where fixing the issue doesn't involve fapping to Mia Khalifa. Mia Khalifa, who according to him has saved more men than Private Ryan. But he can't fathom it. But Andrew Wilson's absolutely right. Listen, all marriages are different. So all marriages are going to have like different types of problems, but if you have a dead bedroom, Well, it's up to the husband and the wife to figure out what's going on there and try to revive their dead bedroom. And it's a effort on both their parts. It's a team effort. That's what I was looking for. It's a team effort. But yes, you could seek counseling, or you could try to find the root of what the problem is. But the solution, that's not fixing the marriage. It's not fixing the dead bedroom. It's just putting a Band-Aid there. It's just a temporary solution to a much bigger problem. It's like if I said, oh man, I'm so miserable, so I'm just going to start drinking every day. You know, you wouldn't advocate for that. You would have been saying, oh yeah, you know, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do if you have an unhappy marriage and the kids are driving you crazy and your work it sucks and you're miserable? What are you supposed to do? Well, break open a bottle of Jim Beam and just down it, brother. Just down it. Like, no one would suggest that. No one would be like, yes, turn to alcohol. That's good. That's what you should do. No, you would be like, well, maybe you try fixing some things in your life. You would try alternate solutions. It's not being miserable or just turn to alcohol, you know? And that's the same thing with corn. It's not just, be miserable. It's not just, turn to corn or turn to prostitution or whatever like that. No, how about trying to fix your marriage, which is a lot of work, but that's the solution there. Not just trying to put a Band-Aid over it.
Stars. I don't know why you think it's more humorous to tell me that humans who are social animals who work through problems every day, especially in marriage, men and women fix their marriages every fucking day. I don't know what you're talking about. That the only choice that men have, rather than attempting to fix the problem, or that women have, other than trying to attempt to fix the problem in their marriages, is that they have to jerk off to corn, is one of the worst arguments I've ever heard in my life. And you would need to demonstrate why it is that they can't fix marriage other than fapping.
No, because if you ever try to ask your woman for a blowjob, that's the worst blowjob you're ever going to get in your life. It's the worst blowjob you're ever going to get in your life when you have to beg, hey, baby, can we please stop this so I can have my sexual crumbs?
You're supposed to have your priest ask for you.
You are detached from reality, sir. You keep talking about the enforcement mechanisms.
What?
You don't have to. You don't have.
Again, I don't think Fatty's married, so I don't think he's speaking from experience. I don't know. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he is a married guy who's either maybe he's divorced and he was previously miserable, or maybe he's currently married and he just really loves fapping too much, and maybe his wife, doesn't want to give it to him anymore. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But he's saying like Andrew's not speaking from reality. I don't think he is. You don't just ask and beg for favors from your wife like that. It's a little bit deeper than that. You're gonna have to actually go for the root of the problem. It's not just simple as just asking or begging. Yeah, because he's right. But if you fix what's going on underlying, then that stuff you won't have to ask or beg pretty much.
Don't have no rights and you don't have real power if you can enforce it. On the secular United States of America, how do you enforce that your woman has sex with you when she says, no, Andrew, fuck the therapist, fuck the pastor, fuck you, your mama, your daddy, and everybody Enforce it. Explain.
You can't force it. What do you mean?
Enforce it.
Yeah, the only way that you could force it would be to violate the law, yeah.
Oh, so either she gets her way or she gets her way. And if she doesn't get her way...
How is she getting her way both ways?
You know what I don't need consent to? Jack off to me, Khalifa.
You know what else you don't need consent to? Getting a prenuptial agreement?
Sir, a prenup doesn't stop you from sexless marriages. If that woman decides that she doesn't want to
actually, let me show you some data on how you're wrong there. Not only does it assist greatly with not having a sexless marriage, but it also most of them are actually upheld in court. Isn't that amazing? Especially when they're done right. But here's the hang on, my turn, Fatty. I just let you go on your stupid diatribe.
Go ahead, sir.
Your entire argument here, right, which you still haven't demonstrated, is that the only way in a sexless marriage for the pathway forward for a man, even though there's thousands of pathways forward, is that they must go on OnlyFans and jerk off to Mia Khalifa or some chick like her.
I never said it's the only way. You can get a mistress.
You get other types of porn?
No, sir. You are going to listen to me.
There's many other porn stars you could watch.
You can get the
Not just Mia Khalifa.
You can get the mistress.
Oh.
You can get a work wife.
How does that fix your marriage?
No, let me finish.
How does that fix your marriage?
All those things are way worse than jacking off to a random person that you're never going to meet in your life.
How does any of this fix their marriage, Fatty?
No, sir.
Sexless marriage grounds for divorce?
My solution is the lesser of two evils. I will rather have a man jerking off than going outside and fuck a prostitute or put a kid on a mistress. You don't have no solutions. I think that's fair.
Hang on. I think there's.
It's funny because he goes, "Well, the porn is the lesser of two evils." Well, what's the lessest? I know that's probably not a real word, but just go with me. What is the least? See, my strong manly brain. What the least of all of the evils, the least evil of them all, is just fixing your marriage. That's the least evil. If you're all about the lesser of two evils, why wouldn't you go for the least evil, which is fixing your marriage? Oops.
I want to start with this, Patty. I want to start with your point on this.
For one day, sir.
God, this guy will never shut the fuck up, so we can't have a engage.
We are the same. I learned from you. You get frustrated because people are over talking.
Fatty, do you want me to engage with the point or not?
No, I want to talk about the prenup thing that you said.
Okay, fine. You go, Queen. Go off, Queen, and then I'll sit here and then I'll ask you. Go ahead, Queen. Come on, Queen. Come on, you go, girl. Yeah, there you go, girls. You go. Go off, Queen. Go off, Queen.
The prenup doesn't protect you from child support. The prenup doesn't protect you from spousal support. The prenup doesn't protect you from alimony. The prenup doesn't protect you from that woman taking your kids from you. It doesn't protect from that woman deny you sex, stop cooking. Nothing of those things can be included on the prenup. So when you say prenup, nothing on the prenup can say, if you don't give me sex 3 times in the week, I am able to divorce you. You are making shit up. Now this
is hilarious because we weren't. We weren't asking about. We weren't asking about the other tangential factors. We're asking about one factor, which was sex. Can prenups assist? Shut up, Fatty. Can prenups assist you? I'm going to tell you. Can prenups assist you with getting more sex in marriage? The answer is yes, Fatty. And there are studies for that. That's what I pointed out. You went off on a bunch of tangentials, which I never said. Hang on, which I never said once. Also, on top of this, Fatty, this is a great critique. Andrew, what are thousands of ways that you can go about trying to do things other than fapping inside of your fucked up marriage? Okay, you know what? I'll grant that I can only give you hundreds of solutions that you don't agree with. Fair enough. But Fatty, look, I'm going to now ask you the same question back. Fatty, can you explain to me how your solution of having men fap to corn is going to help them fix their marriage?
Is not going to help fix their marriage.
Right.
Marriage is for the next generation. It was going to help them do the societal responsibilities that the man has. If I have to take care of my woman and I have to take care of my kids, and I have to stay for the kids so we can go to college and have a 2-parent household and he can get better results. Me fapping to my woman instead of leaving her because she's giving me sex in 3 months actually helps society overall. Even my solution that is deemed bad actually has some positives. Can you give me a solution, Andrew?
Yeah, giving you hundreds.
Tell me men to do that is going to make them.
There are.
It's also telling that he'd rather just resort to just fapping the corn rather than actually engaging in intercourse with his wife. You know, instead of trying to work on the marriage, so that way maybe your wife, you could have like a healthy bedroom again, where you would actually be interacting with a woman. He'd rather just be like, oh no, I got to fap to Mia Khalifa. See what I mean? It's not a solution. It doesn't fix anything. It's just a Band-Aid. And so that way you could go and help the kids get to college and all this other bullshit that he just said, that, you know, but that's Fappy right here is precisely the reason why corn is bad for society, because it produces guys like Fappy over here.
There are hundreds of solutions which are tried and true that people have fixed their marriages with inside of sexless marriages. In fact, there are now many instances of women who will actually, I couldn't believe this myself, but on the latest studies I just saw, they're actually losing weight when their husbands say that they're too fat. They actually are going out and losing weight in order to. Yeah, I mean, but what if a meteorite strikes him in the fucking head? The point is, hang on, Patty. There's hundreds and hundreds of different ways in which you can attack the problem of fixing fucked up marriages. Each is an individual prescription. For you to say, though, wait a second, I just don't think that any of those are particularly effective. It's like, okay, but your way, by your admittal, is not effective at fixing the marriage at all. It doesn't do anything to help the marriage. So here's my question. Hang on. Here's my ultimate question to you then. Says it doesn't assist with fixing the marriage. Don't you think that men should take the energy first, and women, right, inside of their marriages before they do anything else to try to fix and address the issues in their marriage? Yes. Okay. So then if that's the case, don't you think that would breed animosity between husbands and wives if they're fapping to fucking Korn and the other partner knows it?
No, more animosity is when you are you want a person to do what they don't want to do respectfully. And once again, you are an easy target, right? You keep talking, and I keep hearing you talk about enforcement mechanisms. If you don't have the force, and if you can enforce, you can enforce sex or a woman losing weight in a marriage, you are still going to get God. Let me ask you a question, sir.
Go ahead.
If you, Mr. Enforcer, with your prenup, ask your woman, you need to lose some weight, and she says, no. What are you going to do to enforce that?
Divorce her and bank on the prenup. Duh.
So you are going to get God. Congratulations. You
now having understanding that sometimes the threat of knowing you'll do a thing in a relationship can often fix the relationship itself. But not only that, Fatty, the biggest hole in your argument here that makes no sense is like, even if we outlawed porn, men could still fap, dude.
That's not what men are visual.
I think Andrew was a little bit wrong right there, because he was just like, well, just divorce her. And it's like, well, I think that goes a little bit of it's a little bit hypocritical of Andrew to say that, since he's a Christian and he's pro marriage and stuff like that. You know, it's possible he's just arguing on Fatty's level over here, because Fatty has no problem doing that. So he's trying to use Fatty's logic. It's completely possible. But I would say that, because he goes, well, what happens if she says no, she doesn't want to? Well, that doesn't mean just give up. Like, you still should work on it, just because she says no now doesn't mean she's always going to say no. And if it starts negatively affecting the marriage, if she actually cares about the marriage, by the way, that's another thing too. Both parties actually have to care about the marriage. So if she cares about the marriage, she'll eventually, if not soon, will want to lose weight. I'm just saying that it's not like, you ask her to lose weight, she says no. Oh, okay, well, that's it. Divorce time now. No, like, you still keep working on it. Again, it's work. Marriage isn't easy. It's work.
Dual creatures.
Yeah, they can fap to the JCPenney catalog like they did in the fucking 30s, dude. What are you talking about? Why do we need to have naked women on the internet who are young, 18 years old, you have massive companies who are running exploitation scandals. You're having men become highly addicted on top of all of that shit. You have an increase in human trafficking, all of these horrible social ills for society, and your thing is like, but men need to be able to fucking goon and coom and fap, and it's like, they still can, Fatty. Even under my system, where we outlaw all porn, men can still fucking spank their fucking wank, bro.
Is because the genie is out of the bottle. You could be drinking Sunny Delight every time I watch your streams. You know what you're drinking? Alcohol, because it's better. The genie's not going back to drinking Sunny Delight.
Yes, it will. Yeah, in fact, we will outlaw porn. You will watch. Yeah, watch, fucker. We're gonna outlaw it. Watch.
Let me finish.
Watch the genie get stuffed right back in the bottle. You fuck. Watch us do it.
Just to stick it to Fappy over here. Yeah, it's funny, because that's one of their go-tos with Andrew. Whenever these people are debating Andrew, it's always they go to the smoking or they go to the drinking. Usually it's the smoking, but sometimes it's the drinking. The difference is that Andrew isn't going around telling everybody, yeah, go ahead and smoke. Medicate yourself with the smoking. educate yourself with the smoking. What if you have a long day at work? Go ahead and have a smoke. Like, no, he's not doing that. That's the difference. But you have people like Fappy over here who is arguing that, no, actually, corn is good for society. It's a good thing. We need corn. Mia Khalifa saved more men than Private Ryan. That's the difference. At least Andrew Wilson isn't going around saying, hey, this pack of cigarettes over here has saved more men than Private Ryan or Mia Khalifa.
Finish. You literally was bragging about being drunk on a debate and you still won. I saw a comment that you did a couple of days ago. It's an old video. You drink alcohol because water and juice is not making it for you anymore. Now that you tasted the real thing, you are going to go ahead and drink and drink and drink. Once these people experience porn, OnlyFans, and all these things, it's very difficult to go back to magazines.
And also, too, that's a point against you, Fappy. That's actually an argument against you, because that is our argument, is that the corn leads into more degenerate things. Like, it starts off with just regular corn, however you define it. And then it could go down into more darker types of corn because the regular one isn't doing it for you anymore. So, Fappy, that's actually a point in our favor, not yours, because that's what we've been saying, that it's addictive and it could lead you into darker types of corn.
The question for you, sir, is this.
It's
Would
addictive,
you rather a man
like a drug,
stay on the marriage and do his duties with his societal duty and stay on a marriage that has no sex while he faps, or, and you can sidetrack this, go outside, ask for a divorce, and become a bachelor and do what bachelors do? What you rather have, sir, as a society?
Okay, so this dialectical question, I'll answer it with a direct yes or no, but I am going to give you the caveat first that you're just asking me, would you rather drink rat poison or would you rather drink fucking dog poison? And it's like when neither thing needs to be drunk. So I'll answer the question directly. Yeah, I think that if all that's happening in the marriage is he's fapping sometimes and it's preserving the marriage, in that one particular instance, maybe you can make the case in this false dialectic. So I'll just go ahead and bite the bullet. Doesn't hurt my position. Hang on. Hey, Fatty, doesn't hurt my position at all. And here's why. This fucking guy can still fap. Even if we outlaw all the fucking porn, we can fap. And if you were to say to me, but Andrew, what about the beer? You drank the beer because you tasted the nectar of life. And after you tasted that nectar of life, you could never go back to your sunny delight, motherfucker. It's like, maybe, but if this was the focus, which was ruining my marriage or a coping mechanism because my marriage was bad, me using this as a cope would be exactly that, a fucking cope. Yeah. Just like fapping to porn is a fucking cope.
Yeah. And you literally move the goalposts. People are recurring to porn because they don't have affection in real life. They are not going to, they don't go to porn and then they can experience affection. Most of these people that are medicating themselves with porn, they don't have an outlet. They don't have a.
It's so cringe when he keeps calling it medicating themselves with corn. Like, don't say that, dude. It's so weird. Medicating yourselves with corn. Like, oh, don't.
Next to them to actually fuck them, and even if a woman is there, is not meeting their needs. I never heard a man that got sucked off so well by a woman and says, you know what? Oh my God, I need to go and watch me again.
Artificial affection? Is this what you want?
I want to, hold on. I want to open the floor to Flo and Martae. At least
I would like to just finish this last exchange because I got to go. I got to go cover some riots. So, Fatty, here's the thing that's so funny about this, and it just cracks me up that this is your position because it makes no sense. They can still fap. You would have to answer to this. Why is it that societies, pre-corn, right, the men who are sexually frustrated, unmarried in those societies, absent corn? Why?
Hold on real quick. I just want to read the super chat from them. Fatty, you're making men sound like animals. Heaven forbid you don't get your prawn now that we know what you do without it. For real, man. It's like, don't take away my corn, please. I need my Mia Khalifa.
Why weren't they just ripping the fucking walls down, tearing people to pieces, and fucking ripping their throats out, Fatty? Why?
Because they had other outlets that we are on the
same. So there's other alternatives, Fatty. Sure. Oh my God, what are the other alternatives, Fatty?
That's not a got you moment. So
it's not. Yeah, nothing's a got you moment, even though I keep getting you.
marriages are literally going down the drain because people just have more options. Now they are not settling with only water. Now they can get Sunny Delight. They can get beer. They can have vodka.
That's what you're not answering my question.
That's a point to us.
Yeah, no, you're not answering my question. What were the things that these interests, these things they could move towards, that was preventing them from just tearing down the walls and fucking ravaging all the women, ripping everyone's throat out. There was no corn, and they weren't having sex with anybody. Nobody. What were these outlets, Fatty? What were they?
I can answer that. They were outside. They were climbing trees. They were swimming. They were doing a bunch of things that is not the regular day-to-day life of the regular person now.
Then I concede. Hang on, Fatty. I'll just say this last word before I go.
1 second, please.
I can't. I got to leave. So I'm just going to concede your point, and then I'm going to book out of here. You're absolutely right. I will give the prescription that men should be out climbing trees and swimming in pools and climbing mountains instead of fapping. Great point, Fatty. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening. I really appreciate it. Got to get to the riots. You're a fucking idiot. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, Andrew. Martae, I wanted to give you and Flo some opportunities.
So I'm going to cover a little bit more just because, I want to hear more of Martae do his thing. Martae does a good job of holding down the fort. I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm just going to cover a little bit more, see what Martae has to say, because from what I've seen, he did pretty well. But I didn't see immediately. When Andrew switched over to the Crucible, I also went to the Crucible for a little bit, but then I went back here. And so I only caught like near the tail end of Martae's stuff. But from what I saw, he held down the fort well.
It's a wrap. I'll say this. So for Flo, I'm going to address you directly. If we deleted porn from existence and there was no black market because wives actually fulfill their duty, what negative impact to society would we see?
You would see that impulse expressed elsewhere. There's a reason why the most perverted places on earth.
Oh, wait, wives are fulfilling their duties in my hypothetical.
Oh, and you're okay. If everything's perfect on earth, then everything's perfect on earth, and you would have no need for corn in the first place.
Thank you.
Okay, that's
okay,
not
so
a
my
that's not a win.
Duty is given at home, and we have no need to outsource
everything is
this.
perfect. So your W is if
everything no, not even perfect. Not even. I'm not saying perfect. I'm saying if they did.
This is why I said let's open
always
it.
Perfect.
I was trying to do you a favor.
If they did, which isn't always perfect, what negative results would you see? And you've conceded that there wouldn't be any.
Yeah, good job. Good gotcha.
I mean, all fatties argue this whole.
We don't live in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world.
That was my opening statement. They are going.
Yeah, he's right. We don't live in a perfect world, but still, to say that there would be a lot of negative effects if we did away with corn, it's insane. That's like saying, oh, if we banned murder, oh, there's going to be a lot of negative effects. Oh, if we banned drugs, there's going to be a lot of negative effects. I know there's a lot of people that don't think the war on drugs worked and stuff like that. And yeah, maybe there's an argument for another time for that. But outlawing something is better than not outlawing something for the most part. Anyway, obviously there's been some failures such as prohibition. Excuse me. But to say that it's not a good solution to outlaw something, that it wouldn't reduce or help a lot, that's insane to me.
Going to put
at least in the case of corn, I don't see any negative effects of it. If you ban corn, like, yes, are people still going to find their fix somewhere? Sure, but I don't see how it would make society worse.
So, I mean, to Andrew's point, people are still going to fap. Even if we had our perfect utopia, even if we'd outlawed everything else in corn, people are still going to fap. There's still outlets we could do. The gym is one of them. Other means of communication, fixing a marriage.
Yeah. Also, too, it might encourage men to actually go out and actually meet women more. That's another thing with corn is that it's lessened the actual incentive to go out and actually meet women. When you have corn that's just as accessible, easier than women, I mean, yeah, you're gonna get lazier, and you're not gonna actually want to go out and meet a wife or go out and get girls or anything like that. And there's no reason to improve yourself. A big reason why men do a lot of the things we do is to meet women. That's it. It was a Dave Chappelle joke, actually. Maybe I'll play it in the for funsies section after this. But Dave Chappelle made a good joke about it, where basically he was like, he would basically saying like, I would be happy with just a bed and a TV pretty much. But if it weren't for women, but women are the ones that drive men to actually kind of achieve more, like men want to be rock stars. Why? To get women, things of that nature. Not all the time, by the way. No, that's not the sole reason. But without that desire to try to get women, without that, without that incentive is what I should say, to go out and actually meet women, it causes men to actually decline, you know, and it gets lazy. You end up looking like fatty over here, you know, this fat dude right here, you know, again, he's spurging out because you want to take away his corn. I mean, does this look like a real winner? You know, does he look like a winner? Does he look like he goes out and has a lot of success with women? Does he look like he has an incentive to go out and meet women? So that's the thing with that.
Marriage is another. Going back to traditional values in American society is another one. I mean, there's so many other avenues, but I think you're cornholed to a certain point to where all you have is saving a marriage that's on life support. Can you tell me how a marriage is not on life support if you have to revert to porn?
There's a question for both of us, or I can reply?
Both of you. I'm taking on both of you right now. I don't even care right now at this point.
That's the same thing as saying man having another woman will put the marriage on life supply. It's not. Woman denying sex on like denying touch and affection of a man is going to put the marriage on life supply. I guarantee you, more relationship ended because their woman wasn't touching their man, then their man was dicking off to whatever porn star was in the internet. That is not actually
good.
Okay, do you think staying in a marriage where it's sexless is better or conducive, or just going to porn and then staying in a marriage that's not conducive to society life?
Is good.
Divorce? Okay, great. So there's actually a solution to not having to go into degeneracy with porn.
What did you say? What divorce?
You've already conceded that point too. So,
you think that people who get divorced don't look at porn?
If you have a sexless relationship and you're frustrated and it's going to make you outsource your relationship to other individuals and parties, that's more conducive than going ahead. And we've already conceded that fixing your marriage should be an alternative to porn and fixing society.
They always say that in a perfect world, like they're saying that only in a perfect world can you fix your marriage. Again, and you know what? I actually remember because someone super chatted that. I don't know if it was just Gerald or not, but someone asked them to like raise their hand if they're married. And Andrew was the only one on the panel that was married. I think they said Martae was like in a long-term relationship. He's not married, but he's been with his girlfriend for a long time. But no one else was married. So like it's like, why should we listen to these guys? They're not married. They think that like fixing your marriage is some kind of only in a perfect world can you fix your marriage. It's like, what kind of outlook is that?
Daddy won't even entertain that because in his dystopian future, there's no way to do this. It's going to happen. It's more of an approach to nihilism. Porn's going to happen no matter what.
In a perfect world,
increase no matter what.
What about the brothels before we are here?
Like they were world where everybody's getting
with my worldview, there's at least a fix and an approach to going ahead and fixing a recommendation.
Hey, Martae, you know why you were wrong, Martae?
You have no fix to marriages.
You know why you're wrong? Because the oldest profession in the history of mankind is prostitution.
No, that's not. That's hunting and bartering and trading. You're wrong on that too.
Prostitution is not the oldest.
You can Google this right now. Use your sheet if you want to.
Women being using sex to have power and men being having power to have sex. That's the oldest.
Do you think people needed to eat before they needed to go ahead and just fuck a bunch of people? I'm sure they needed to eat, right, and survive. Hence, hunting is the oldest profession. You're wrong on that.
No.
You've been wrong this whole debate, Patty.
Martae, are you a religious person?
Of course.
Right? Do you think even Adam was fucking each other before they were hunting?
I mean, we had food.
Wait. What were they doing first, sir? Were they fucking each other or they were looking for the mammoth? What they were doing?
You need food for energy. You can't, you can't fornicate on an empty stomach. I mean, you can, but if you're weak because you haven't eaten in days, that's a little bit more important. So I think the eating comes first.
Well, what are you going to die from? Lack of food or sex?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Would you die from food or sex?
Nobody dies from masturbating too much.
Like no one is saying that fornicating isn't important. Absolutely, because that's how you progress the human race. But in order to do that, you need to be fed. You need to make sure you have strength to do that.
Nobody dies from masturbating.
No. I'm sure they had to eat before any of this.
Nobody in the history of mankind that was deceased because he jacked off too much. Nobody. You can find it. Find it for me.
You've literally said nothing right now at this point.
No. Find me a place in the history.
We're
talking about like people going after their pleasures, drinking, smoking, all of them. Find the place in the history of mankind where a man died because he fapped too much to the point that he lost his life.
So that's a bad example, because I could show you histories where men died because they didn't eat or hunt, but they didn't die because they didn't have sex. That's a horrible example.
Yeah, but how did they get here?
People get here through means of reproduction, but you can't reproduce if you can't live through food.
Exactly.
This is what came first, the egg or the chicken. And so right now, that's a horrible ass example.
So
that's probably the worst example you could ever give, Fatty.
The same way people are never going to stop searching for food and searching for water, they will never stop for looking for either fucking somebody or jacking off on a way that they release their shit. You asking for these people to not do it?
Their biggest issue, Fatty and Powdered Dusties, is that they keep conflating meeting an actual woman and fornicating with her to self-pleasuring by watching porn. They're not the same thing. See, the issue is corn good for society? That's the prompt right here. I don't know if you could see that, but that's the prompt. All right. So they keep conflating and going back and forth with fornicating with a woman and watching corn. But the problem with corn is that if you get too addicted to it, or if you get too reliant on it, you're not going to meet women. You're going to have no desire to it, because why? When you have Mr. Right over here to keep you, and Mia Khalifa to keep you happy, to keep you satisfied, you know. But in turn, it doesn't actually improve yourself. It doesn't actually cause you to actually improve yourself, to actually go out and meet women and things of that nature. And that is part of the reason why it's harmful to society. You get people like Fatty over here. That's what it leads to. You know, you get people like Fatty. So it's not the same thing going out and finding a woman. Well, you can't have that if corn is prevalent. You know, it actually, I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked at studies, but I'm willing to bet that the going out and meeting women and stuff like that has probably declined ever since you've had easier access to corn.
The way is asking for a woman to close their
Fatty,
legs.
can I ask you a question? If there was no women available and no porn, would people still fat?
Absolutely, because they need to. What is your point?
My point is that we don't need that. We do not need an artificial material or outsourcing any of this, because people have proclivities. They can do this absent porn. They can do this absent women.
And you don't need the 12-inch dildo and a rose, but you're never going to masturbate with your aunt because now you're used to motherfucking rose. That's the point.
Making my point.
No,
Martae.
Martae. People,
you're arguing to outsource things.
Yeah.
No, people are creatures of habit, right? That's why the prohibition didn't work. You are going to prohibit alcohol, and people are going to find ways of smuggling. You are going to prohibit drugs, and people are going to find a way of doing them. When you were talking about
that's always a horrible
sex,
argument.
People will find a way either to experience the real thing or to actually go to a brothel, masturbate, and all these things. So when you say this is a way where we could stop it, you could never stop it. You can only hope to contain it. And you know how to contain it? Porn, because people are not getting STDs.
You've already
people are not having kids out of wedlock. People are
absence of porn. You're still stuck, Fatty. You've already been decimated on this point already. Even with the absence of porn, people are going to fap. All you're doing is adding extra harm, extra outsourced resource of artificial means, and not the real thing. You've already said people are going to fap with the absence of porn. You're stuck. This is a moot point, Fatty.
Do you live in a perfect world on
oh my goodness,
the real world?
A perfect world.
I live in the real world where men could fap with the absence of porn. This happens. Do you think people have porn provided to them in prison?
Martae, absolutely. But I'm going to make this analogy.
Wait, no. Do you think it's just given to men in prison, porn?
Probably they have some magazines there, but like a lot of them start fucking each other, especially female prisons. They literally turn lesbians because they are sexually deprived. Happens all the time.
Okay, so people are going to fap and do things even without porn, even when they're in a restricted environment. It's going to happen.
Martae, I see people attacking you all the time because you are a professional athlete, right? Is that a way that you can compete naturally? Of course, you can go to the stage and compete naturally. You don't need those enhancements, but you will never win nothing because you have to actually have those enhancements just like everybody else for you to be on a level of competition. On a perfect world, I will come here and say, Marty,
that's a bad example.
Don't do testosterone, Marty, because that's the not right thing to do. Just go natural and compete with these people. The reality is you have to adapt to the market. All these people are juicing to the gills. So for you to be a competitor, you have to snap from your real world and actually talk about real life.
Yeah, that was a horrible example. It's not the same thing. Taking testosterone or enhancements, that's not the same thing as fapping, you know, because enhancements, it actually helps improve your athletic ability. Well, what does fapping improve? According to Fappy, though, it allows you to think clearer and stuff. Yeah, you know, if you actually do it with a woman, I would more likely agree, but I think self doing it, I think it brings on more shame than actual, like, oh yeah, I feel really good now, I could start my day. You know what I mean? But that was that debate. Good job on Martae and Andrew. If you want to see the full debates, I urge you to go to the Raging Tomatoes channel. It is up there. It is Mod Monday. Is corn good for society? And check out the rest of it on your own. It is still entertaining on your own because, you know, whether you like Fatty or you hate him, he's pretty entertaining. He's funny. He's interesting to watch, and he continues to go at it with not just Martae, but when they open the entire panel. It was quite an entertaining watch. So if you like this video, give this video a like, leave a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel. I release videos every day. So that all those things will help me out a lot. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Take care.